Welcome back to New Day, and that was just the news in brief there. And right now we have the chamber, and we'll be looking at some legal issues. Right. Okay, so it's now time for Chamber, where we will be taking a look at the legal term pro bono. Pro bono is actually short for pro bono publico, it's Latin, and it actually means for the good of the people. Now, even though it's used in normal terms as free service, in legal terms it's quite more specific. And we're going to be talking about pro bono services in Ghana and how accessible it is. In the studio to do this with us, we have Eric Delano Ahipo. He is a legal practitioner with he's the executive director of Help Ghana Law.
Help Law Ghana.
Help Law Ghana. Okay,
That's
Help
right.
Law Ghana.
Yeah.
Thank you very much, sir, for joining us.
Thank you for having me.
Now, pro bono, could you shed more light on what it means?
As you said, it is free legal services to people who cannot afford. Actually, it's free legal services. Whenever
Free legal services.
yeah, free legal services is provided, it is described. The term pro bono is used to describe that. So
Okay.
it's not actually for just the poor.
Okay.
Whenever you render legal services without charging any fees, it's a pro bono service that you are rendering to. But the main thing is we have to stress on legal aid or legal assistance.
Okay.
Yeah, because people think that anytime they mention the term pro bono, it implies legal assistance to the poor. It's not really so, because even the rich can access pro bono services.
So it's not just for the poor, like you said. It's
No,
as long as it's free,
yes,
it can be for anyone.
Exactly.
Okay.
As long as I provide free legal services to anybody, I can
That's
describe it as pro bono service
Okay.
that I provide. Yeah.
Right. Okay. Now let's look at accessibility in Ghana. First of all, do you think the populace is well literate legally to understand that they can actually access pro bono services?
Well, that is why I would like us to distinguish pro bono services from legal assistance or legal aid.
Okay, do that
For
first.
pro bono services, people always get free legal services from their friends, their relatives, and all of that. And those lawyers would always say that we have provided some pro bono services to the public, as long as they have provided some services to people that they know and they haven't charged anything. Those people could otherwise pay legal fees. Yeah, but we need to stress on legal assistance, because that is where the problem is. People who cannot actually afford the service of lawyers, they need the service of lawyers and yet cannot afford. Those are the people we have to be looking at. Okay. Those are the people we have to create room for to be able to access legal services, to access the pro bono services actually. Yeah, but unfortunately in Ghana here, they hardly get it.
Why is that?
Well, I don't know. First of all, you see, the government has a responsibility. I would say the state has a responsibility to establish a proper legal aid scheme. And so
you do have the Legal Aid Commission.
Yeah, it is there. And I normally say that they are not providing the kind of services I expect them to provide if they want to represent the indigent. I don't want to make them the subject of this discussion, but I think that is anybody who is charged in court, not even only that, but that is the criminal part of anybody who is charged, has to be represented by a lawyer in court. It doesn't happen. When you go to our court, you see several people come there, they don't have lawyers, they don't have the means, they don't have the resources to hire lawyers. And we all understand that the legal aid scheme is there. They do not even know that it exists. And
so is it a problem with the legal aid system, or is it that people are not educated enough as to know that yes, indeed there is something like that you can have access to?
The legal aid system, the legal aid scheme in Ghana itself is not established to be able to provide such services. There are only a few services. For instance, people who are contesting the Constitution, abuse of the Constitution, for instance, the law provides that those people should have legal. I don't even know if they have it all the time. And then people who are charged with crimes that could attract the death penalty, that's capital punishment, they also have to be provided free legal services. But the legal aid is not even equipped. The legal aid scheme, as it is now, is not even equipped to provide these services to the people, and so they end up doing a lot of matrimonial cases and domestic cases where they even charge some fees. You know, I am looking at a situation where people who cannot afford the service of lawyers can go there and have full free services. You see, and we don't have it in Ghana. And the people do not even know that the legal aid scheme also exists. But you see, I will not emphasize too much of the non-education. I think that it is because they are not even well equipped to be able to provide the services. So even when they educate the people and they go there, they will not be able to meet their needs. They don't even have the lawyers. They don't have the resources.
Okay. Yeah. Right. Now let's take a look at lawyers themselves. Yeah. Are they required by the Ghana Bar Association, for instance, to render pro bono services? Because the American Bar Association, in their conducts, professional conducts, they actually obligate their attorneys to at least have about 50 hours a year dedicated to pro bono services. Is it something that the Ghana Bar Association looks at?
They have paid lip service to this for a very long time. I know that they persuade lawyers, private lawyers, to provide some pro bono services. But as to whether they are required, as to whether you are supposed to indicate the number of hours you are provided in a year in order for your license to be renewed, I don't know about that. I'm not sure they are doing that. I was actually trained in America. I went to law school in America, so I understand what you are saying, and it works perfectly over there. But over here, it is not. And here, all the lawyers, we are all looking for money. Everybody is looking for money. So I think you know about my organization. That's why I have established the Help Law Ghana. Help Law Ghana is supposed to mobilize resources to provide completely free legal services to people who cannot afford. And we have been working for some time now. It's difficult because we are not getting the resources, and yet we are pressing on, because I think that is the way it has to go. The other lawyers, I think that the advice I would give to people is to just walk to the chambers and talk to the lawyers and see whether they will provide. They don't normally do it, most of them do, but
okay. From what you've said so far, you have highlighted on the fact that indeed there are issues with finances. Now, pro bono is supposed to be free. So if I'm a client and I'm not going to pay you, how are you as a lawyer, how are you supposed to raise funds to be able to handle my case?
Well, so you need to raise funds. You need to get people.
How? That's what I said.
Well, like TV3 here, you get people who always put in money for musical shows, and people come and dance and show up and beauty. You need to be able to raise funds. People need to understand that. You see, a lot of people have congested our prisons, not because they were actually liable. Some are innocent. It's only because they didn't have lawyers. And so private organizations, corporate bodies, and foundations, philanthropy, they need to understand that we have a responsibility, because I think that justice is only rendered if everybody is able to be represented in court. And nobody goes to court and says that because I don't have money. In fact, most of the people who are in our jails, I believe that if they had lawyers, they wouldn't be there. So I think that we need to raise the funds. I am trying. And when the funds, when I don't get the funds, I'm still
you're saying we need to, but how? That's why I asked, how do you raise funds? Because at the end of the day, it is about money. Because earlier on in the year, there was an upward mobility in filing fees at the courts, and that became a problem, because one of the issues that was raised, that it was going to affect pro bono cases, because then now.
Yeah, but you see, again, it depends on how the pro bono was categorized, because I know that criminal cases do not attract filing fees, most of them now. I think they need to ratify that properly. But some of the criminal cases you file, you don't have to pay anything. But back to how to raise funds, we need to be creative, we need to be innovative. I had funding from OSIWA. OSIWA is Open Society Foundations of West Africa, for instance. I had funding, and I have again applied to them. And I'm appealing to other people. I'm thinking of even doing a fundraising, maybe organize a program. For instance, you can team up with TV3, can team up with me, for instance, if they understand, if they know that what I am doing is right, and we need to promote it. We can appeal to people, and I believe that a lot of people, a lot of philanthropists, kind people are in this society and organization that may be willing to put their money in there. It's just very difficult to get it, and we need to do the sacrifice. I sent proposals.
I like the fact that you said it's a sacrifice.
Yes, it is.
Okay.
It is. It's really a sacrifice, because I'm a lawyer. I should be working somewhere, or I should be taking up big cases and also getting money like hard that lawyers are hustling for. But I am making the sacrifice. I know I am making a sacrifice because I know what I'm going through, trying to get a little money and then run to the courts. And every day I have several cases. Right now, so I was coming here, somebody even called me, and I even forgot that I had that case coming up, completely pro bono case. And the person called me and said, I said, wow, the way I'm even dressed, I cannot even go to court now. I'll see if I can squeeze it in. So it is a sacrifice. People must be willing to give back to society.
But what if they are not? Because at the end of the day, you need to work. You need to put food on your table. I think, how do you go about this? Because
it's a difficult one. That is why you see the state has to set the pace, and then we follow. Even in the developed jurisdictions like America that you refer to, they have what we call, for instance, for criminal cases, they have the public defender office.
Yes.
Yeah, the public. I worked in a Baltimore public defender's office before, and so you just apply there. There's a threshold. They look at you answer the question. They look at it, and they give you. So government has to lead, and even that in those jurisdictions, we still have private initiatives like Help Law Ghana, for instance. There has to be private initiatives also, and they have to try to raise the funds. If you don't raise it, you are not able to provide it, and then people don't get. And then, so we keep on saying that there's fair administration of justice and all of that. I don't believe there's fair administration of justice as long as people go to court and do not have lawyers, and it is not their choice not to have lawyers, but it is because they don't have the resources. I don't think that we are.
Okay, now let's look at this. People are of the perception, at least generally, stereotypically, that free things a little iffy. What is the nature? How can we guarantee that with pro bono issues, lawyers that end up rendering such services will render the service with the highest amount of quality?
Well, that I don't know how much we can do about that, because I even believe.
You get it, because it's not just about it's free and I'm being represented, but what kind of lawyer is he, and how?
But you wouldn't have a choice though. As a beggar, you don't even have the means to go and hire a lawyer, and somebody wants to provide you services, exactly. And now you are beginning to look at the quality of services.
Yeah, but it does. It's not just then. It means that we're just talking about simply getting a lawyer for the sake of getting a lawyer.
No, what I'm saying is that, you see, I understand what you are saying. If you are getting the lawyer for the person, if somebody is paying for it, that person will have to demand of the lawyer who is providing the services to provide the best services that person could. You see, but if nobody is sponsoring it, it doesn't mean, for instance, I'll put in my best for everybody I represent, my very best I'll put in. Otherwise, you see, if it is not worth doing, it's not worth doing at all. I don't go in for it. But if it is worth doing, it's worth doing well. So I'll put in the best. But what I'm saying is that if you cannot question me, you are an outsider, cannot question, because you are not paying for the services. So it's better than nothing. You see,
really?
Yes, I'm not saying that people should provide second-class services. That's what I'm saying. But what I'm saying is that it's going to be difficult if nobody is paying for it, for people to be questioning that, well, the person is not having a good representation, and yet nobody is paying for that representation.
Good representation in court is extremely important, because it's not just about having a lawyer, but having a lawyer who would be able to handle the case.
But would you recommend that a person goes with that representation at all?
I wouldn't recommend that, but I'm saying that if we are going to get free legal, representation, then it doesn't necessarily mean that I should just settle for less just because it's free.
No. The person who may just settle for anything is the client.
Forces into handling the case. I end up going to jail.
Yes.
It's pro bono. Yes. I have been represented, but I was not represented in the way and manner which would have prevented me from ending up in jail.
Yes.
Is that a lesser of two evils then?
Yes, I would say so.
How?
Yeah, because you see, the alternative is for you to go unrepresented. You see, in any case, you see, there are people who have even paid for legal services and are not getting very good services. I know about that.
Okay.
It happens a lot. They call their lawyers, they have paid, they call their lawyers, and their lawyers are not even picking their phones. Happens. But what I'm saying is that, you see, any lawyer who decides to provide a legal service to anybody must do it right, whether the person is paying or not, once you decide to take up a case. But all I'm trying to imply, you see, once you are not paying for the service, it's going to be difficult for you to be questioning the person who is helping you.
Okay.
That's all I'm saying. If somebody buys you a dress, you can't tell the person, I don't like this, take it back. Well, the person will take it back. They don't have anything to put on. So they are in a very tight situation because they don't have money to hire lawyers, nobody is paying, and somebody decides to help you. All you need to do is to thank God and then pray that the person renders a good service. Like I said earlier, once I decide to take up the case, I will have to put it, because my own reputation is at stake. The way I do my cases, my reputation is at stake. So once I decide to do the case, I have to do it right. If I don't want to do it, I don't do it. But if I get into it, I have to do it right. But again, because it's a free services, sometimes are not very good. But it is because it is free and people cannot question. But if I give my money to somebody to provide a service to another person, I would be interested in how the person does it. So what we need to do is people need to understand that we need to support organizations such as Help Law Ghana, for instance, that are providing. If they want to find out whether really we are providing the services that we claim we are doing, they can do that. They can come to the office. So once you are convinced that they are providing services that are essential, are vital for the administration of justice, then people should support it, encourage us, and then we'll do more of that. And then our prisons will be decongested.
Okay, so quickly, just tell me personally, for instance, if I have an issue with someone, or let's say, hypothetically speaking, someone beats me up, or my husband beats me up, and I don't have the means to hire a lawyer, and I come to you, what is the first thing that I'm supposed to do? First thing.
Well, if you go to a lawyer...
First of all, how would I even know who to go to?
Well,
in regards to free services, where?
Well, if it's free services, it's difficult. That is why, for instance, these programs like this is supposed to educate people to know that services like this exist. You only have to ask. Now, these days, people go online and they try to find free legal services or legal assistance, and they get phone numbers. People do call me and I ask them how did they get to know, and then they said they went online. So it's going to be difficult for everybody to know where to go to, but sometimes people should also go to the police station, maybe walk to the courts, maybe walk to any lawyer's office and then talk to them and say, you see, once you enter the lawyer's office, doesn't mean that you're going to pay immediately. So feel free, go there and talk to them, and then perhaps they may educate you as to where to go. And then they will show you how to get to areas that you can access legal assistance. All
right, thank you so very much.
Thank you for having me.
Well, we've had in the studio Mr. Eric Delano Ahipohen. He's a legal practitioner and executive director of Help Law Ghana.